Hi everyone, my name is Cyprienne, and today we're going to be making this beautiful lacy bucket hat. We're going to be making it in an adult size, but if you wanted to make a smaller size, I'll leave a link to the free pattern below. It has 5 sizes. So all you need is worsted weight cotton, and today I'm using Bernat Handicrafter Cotton, but of course you can use any worsted cotton that you want. It's a 6.5mm crochet hook. That's for the main part of the hat and any roses or leaves that you want to add. And then once we move to the brim, you're going to need a 6mm crochet hook. You're going to be working with chain stitches, single crochets, and double crochets. And then for the brim, I will show you how to do the long reverse single crochet. So I think that's all we need to get started. I'll leave the gauge in the description below so that you can check your gauge. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so to start, we're just going to start with our slip knots. So make a circle and pinch the X with your finger, reach through, pull that yarn up, keeping the loop on your finger and closing it slightly. Now to continue closing that loop, you're just going to pull on the loose end of yarn, insert your hook from back to front and keep pulling till it's closed. Don't pull it too tightly though, because we want to be able to work our stitches easily. If you know how to do a magic circle and prefer to do that, you can absolutely do that. Just work 6 single crochet into the magic circle. But for the rest of you who are going to follow what I'm doing, we're just going to chain 2. So yarn over, give that tail a tug to open up that loop and pull that through. Okay, one more time. We're going to chain 2, yarn over and pull it through the loop. Now working into the second chain from the hook, we're going to place 6 single crochet in there. So this is an unfinished chain, so that does not count. That's our first chain and that's our second chain. So you're going to insert the hook, yarn over, pull that loop through, then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 2 loops. So you can just, you can click on the timestamp below to see how to do that again, and I'll work it with you here as well. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, and through all 2 loops. So that's 2 single crochets made, and we're going to do 4 more. Now I don't know if yours is going to open up like mine. Just give that a little tug and that'll close that up for you. So let's count our stitches. So this is the first one we made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need to do 1 more, and that's 6. Okay, now we're not joining for this pattern. We're just going to work continuously. So whenever there's no join, it makes the starting stitch harder to find. So I always use a stitch marker. So this is where we're going to start to use it. So moving on to round 2, we're just going to work a single crochet into that first stitch. And then we're going to mark that stitch with our stitch marker, which for me is a paper clip. You can use a bobby pin, a paper clip, a piece of yarn, whatever you want. Now working into that same stitch where we just worked the single crochet, we're going to work another single crochet in there. So now we've worked 2, and then we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, followed by another single crochet right into where we worked that stitch. And we're going to place 2 single crochets in each stitch around exactly how we did here. So that means we're doubling our stitches for round 2. So at the end of round 2, we should have 12 stitches. So I'll just go ahead and make those. And then we'll meet up and we'll count our stitches and make sure that we have 12. And of course, because this is a hat, it's super important that we have the correct number of stitches. Otherwise, the hat's going to be too big or too small. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 2 here. And so we'll go around and we'll count these stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's perfect. Okay, so moving on to round 3, we're just going to take out our stitch marker. We are going to work 1 single crochet in the first stitch, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. And before we get ahead of ourselves here, let's make sure that we put our stitch marker back in. So I'm going to put the pattern repeat above here, and I'm going to go ahead and finish off round 3, and then we'll meet up for our stitch count. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 3 here, and our stitch count should be 18 stitches. So just go around and count all these V's, and then we'll end up at the first stitch and you should have 18. Okay, so we're finished round 3 now, and let's move on to round 4. So for starting round 4, we're going to place a single crochet in that first stitch, and then a single crochet in the next. Then let's quickly pop our stitch marker back in to mark the beginning of round 4. And then we're going to follow that by 2 single crochet into the next stitch. So you can see a pattern starting here where we're doing our increases into the same place as we did our increase for the last round. So we're going to increase into that stitch, so 2 single crochet, followed by a single crochet in the next, followed by a single crochet in the next, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. So I'll pop those instructions above and go ahead and complete round 4, and we'll meet up to do a stitch count. Okay, so I just finished round 4, and I finished the round with 2 single crochet in the last stitch. And the stitch count for round 4 is 24. So just go around and make sure that you have 24 stitches. That is absolutely necessary for the sizing, because we have a wrong stitch count here. That wrong stitch count is only going to be magnified as we move ahead with the following rounds. Okay, so for round 5, we're going to be working a single crochet in the first stitch, followed by a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So we'll just work those there. And you guessed it, followed by 2 single crochets into the next stitch. So let's go back and quickly pop in our stitch marker so that we don't lose our spot. So if you're not sure where it is, we did 3 single crochet, so you can just count back 1, 2, 3, and that's where your stitch marker goes. And then we'll continue on. So you're going to work 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, and 3, followed by 2 single crochet where we did the last increase in the previous round. So we're going to place 2 single crochet right in there. So you're going to continue that pattern for the rest of round 5. I'll pop the instructions above and we'll meet up for a stitch count. Okay, so at the end of round 5, again, I finished the round with 2 single crochet in the last stitch, and our stitch count for round 5 is 30. So just make sure that you've got 30 stitches all the way around to the first stitch, and we can continue on with round 6. So we're going to continue the exact same way, but this time we're going to be working a single crochet into the first 4 stitches, followed by 2 single crochet in the next. So I'll do that with you. So we're going to go single crochet 1. I'm going to pop this back in right now. 2, 3, and 4, followed by 2 single crochet in the next stitch. Now, because the pattern, I'm sure you guys are becoming familiar with it, I'm just going to do the pattern once, pop it above, and we'll meet up at the end of round 6, and we'll do a stitch count and carry on to round 7. Okay, so I just finished round 6, and I have 36 stitches all the way around, and of course I've finished my round with 2 single crochets in the last stitch. So just double check your stitch count is 36, and we'll move on to round 7. So for round 7, we're going to repeat with you and we'll move on. So we're going to work 1 single crochet. We'll put our stitch marker back right in that first stitch, and then we're going to work a single crochet over the next 4 stitches for a total of 5 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we'll just double check we've done 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Oh, hang on, sorry, I counted the wrong one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, followed by 2 single crochet right in there. So just continue that pattern all the way around to the end of round 7, and we'll come back and do a stitch count and move on to round 8. Okay, so I finished round 7, and at the end of round 7 you should have 42 stitches all the way around. So you can tell at this point that every round we're increasing by 6 stitches. So if you already know how to crochet and want to go ahead and work ahead, you're going to do that until round 11, finishing with a count of 66 stitches. For anyone else who's just sort of starting, you can follow on with me for the rest of the rounds. So now we're going to move on to round 8, and we're going to be placing 1 single crochet into the first 6 stitches. So I'll do that with you here. 1, I'm going to pop my my stitch marker back in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we are going to work 2 single crochet into here again, creating that increase. So that is your pattern repeat for the rest of round 8. And then we'll meet up to do a count again. Okay, so I just finished round 8 with 2 single crochet in the last stitch, and your stitch count for the end of row 8 should be 48. So we can move on to round 9 now, and we're going to do that by placing 1 single crochet into the first 7 stitches. So just work those with you. Pop your stitch marker back in. Just finish off this 7. We're coming close to the end of our increase rounds, and then we'll be starting with the body of the hat, and that's the fun stuff. That's when we're going to start to see that lacy texture taking place, and the body of the hat also works up much quicker than the increase rounds. Okay, so we're just going to make sure that we have 7 stitches here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to follow that again by increase here in the next stitch. So that's 2 single crochet there. So I'll go ahead and finish up round 9, meet up with you as always for a stitch count, and we'll move on to round 10. Okay, so we're ready to move on to round 10, but before we do, you just want to make sure that you have a stitch count of 54 on round 9. So this is our second last increase round, and we are going to do this the exact same way, except for round 10, we're going to be working a single crochet into the first 8 stitches, followed by an increase in the next. So I'll just work this first pattern with you. So that's 1. Don't forget your stitch marker. So we're just going to do a single crochet across, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then 2 single crochet in the next. I'll pop the instructions above, and we'll go ahead and finish round 10. We're going to finish round 10 and meet up, do a stitch count, and move on to our last increase round. Give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you're still with me and how you're making out. So we are ready to move on to round 11. But before we do, we have to check our stitch count, and that will be 60 stitches for round 10. So let's move on to round 11, and again it's done the exact same way, so I'm just going to work the first increase with you, and then you can take it from there and we'll move on to the next part of the hat. So let's just work a single crochet into the first 9 stitches. Let's pop our stitch marker back in. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And we're just going to follow that again with the increases right where we've been doing them the whole time in the next stitch there. So 2 single crochet. Okay, pop it above and finish up round 11. We'll meet up for another stitch count. We're going to do a quick gauge check, see how we're measuring across, and if we're measuring too big or too small, I'll tell you what to do at that point. We have now completed all of our increase rounds and we're ready to move on to the fun part. So let's do a quick gauge check. So my sample here, or the top of my hat here, is measuring about 6.5 inches across. Now, if your hat is measuring a lot smaller, what you can do is do another increase round. So every increase round consists of 6 stitches. So to give you an idea of what that means with the finished size of the hat, we're going to count 6 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is basically 2 inches for every 6 stitches. Now that's going to be probably too much of an increase. I would recommend, instead of doing an increase, let's work this way, don't do the increase here, do it here. So you'll basically end up doing 3 increases instead of 6. Now, if it's too big, you're going to want to undo a round to make it smaller and then go back and do that increase every other time. So don't do the increase here, do it here. And that will help to adjust the sizing of the hat. But if it's just off by a little bit, don't stress it. Like I'm talking about if you're off like an inch or so to change it. So for rounds 12 through 15, we are simply working a single crochet. So you just do this in every stitch around. Make sure that you are using your stitch marker. Make sure that you are counting at the end of every round to make sure that you are not adding or subtracting stitches. It is super, super important at this point that we stay with 66 stitches, because if that changes when we move on to that lacy part, our counts are not going to work. It has to be divisible by 3. So go ahead and just work single crochets all the way around rounds 12 through 15. So for the next 4 rounds, you are going to work continuously single crochets. So I just finished my 4 rounds of single crochet. And if you're worried that it's not taking shape quickly enough, I just want to show you that this is what it looks like once we have done some rounds of the texture stitch, and then it will go in even more as we do the brim. We're not going to join, we're just going to start working immediately into the next single crochet, and this is where we start our texture, and our texture here is so incredibly easy. You are going to love it. Okay, for round 16, we're going to start working in our very first single crochet. So we're going to work right in here, and we're going to do 1 single crochet followed by 2 chains, 1 and 2, and then we're going to work right back into that same single crochet that we were just working in. So we're going to do another single crochet. Okay, so that's what that should be looking like. We're going to skip over the next 2, 1, 2, and we're going to work in the 3rd stitch. So we're going to work another single crochet followed by 2 chain stitches, working another single crochet right into that same space. Then we're going to skip the next 2, 1, 2. We're going to work another single crochet followed by 2 chains, followed by another single crochet right into that same space. So our pattern repeat here is 3 stitches. So you want to continue that all the way around, and at the end of round 16 you should have 22 of these chain 2 spaces. So I'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet up and we'll count them together and make sure that we're on track. Okay, so I've just finished round 16, and we'll go ahead and count our chain 2 spaces together. So We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So that's perfect. Now moving on to round 17, what we're going to do is we're going to be skipping over the last 2 stitches of round 16, and we're going to work into our first single crochet of round 16. So we're going to just join there, and then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. Now working into 2 spaces, we're going to place 3 double crochets. So I'll show you how to do a double crochet. So you're just going to yarn over your hook, insert it into that chain 2 space. So you see the single crochet here, our 2 chains, and our single crochet here. You're going to work right through the middle of that. So you're going to yarn over, pull your yarn through, then you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, and through 2 again, and that's your double crochet made. We're going to do 2 more into this chain 2 space. So that's 1, sorry, I'll do the next one slower. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull the loop up, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over, and through the last 2 loops. So that's your cluster of 3 double crochets made. You're going to skip over these stitches here, and you're going to work directly into your next chain 2 space, and we're going to be working 3 double crochets again. So I'll just do 3, and I'll leave timestamps, so if you need to go back and see how I did those double crochet, you can do that. Okay, and 3 more, or sorry, 1 more. So you've got 3 all together there. So 3 and 3. We're going to skip over to our next chain 2 space and do the same thing again. So you're going to work at 1 double crochet, and then 2, and then 3. So I'm going to go ahead, I will post the instructions above, and I'm going to go ahead and finish working round 17 of the, oh, poor puppy, round 17 of the hat, and I'll meet up with you for round 18, and I'll probably take my dog out in between, so we'll meet up with you soon. 1, sorry, I'll do the next one slower. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull the loop up, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over, and through the last 2 loops. So that's your cluster of 3 double crochets made. You're going to skip over these stitches here, and you're going to work directly into your next chain 2 space, and we're going to be working 3 double crochets again. So I'll just do 3, and I'll leave timestamps, so if you need to go back and see how I did those double crochet, you can do that. Okay, and 3 more, or sorry, 1 more. So you've got 3 all together there. So 3 and 3. We're going to skip over to our next chain 2 space and do the same thing again. So you're going to work at 1 double crochet, and then 2, and then 3. So I'm going to go ahead, I will post the instructions above, and I'm going to go ahead and finish working round 17 of the, oh, poor puppy, round 17 of the hat, and I'll meet up with you for round 18, and I'll probably take my dog out in between, so we'll meet up with you soon. Okay, so I have just finished round 17, and what you want to do is make sure that you have 22 of these clusters that have the 3 double crochets. So if you have 22 clusters, you should have 3 in each, which means you have 66 stitches. If you have any doubt, go around and just count your stitches and make sure that you have the correct amount. So we can move on to round 18 now. Okay, so we're going to be joining to our first double crochet here. And we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now we're going to work in our second double crochet. So this is our join, this is our chain, and we're good. So this would be our first double crochet, and here's our second. So we're going to work a single crochet followed by 2 chains, 1, 2, followed by a single crochet right back in there again. So we're repeating what we did 2 rounds ago. We're going to skip the next 2 stitches in there, followed by 2 chains, followed by a single crochet right back in. Then we'll skip 2, 1, 2, work in that stitch there with a single crochet, chain 2, single crochet into that same space. So you can continue that all the way around, then go back, check your chain 2 spaces and make sure that you have 22 of those. Then we'll meet up for round 19. Okay, so we are at the end of round 18. Just make sure that you have 22 of those chain 2 spaces like we did before. We're just going to skip the last 2 stitches, join to the first single crochet, or so I think. Single crochet, there we go. We're going to join, chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to do the exact same thing that we did previously, working 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. So you can go ahead and work those all the way around, and we'll meet up and we're just going to do the band and then we're going to move on to the brim. So it's all coming together really nicely. What do you guys think? Was this easier to do than you thought to make this beautiful lacy texture? There we go. We're going to join, chain 1 and turn. And then we're going to do the exact same thing that we did previously, working 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. So you can go ahead and work those. We'll just finish up round 19 and move on to round 20. So I'll finish this up and I'll see you soon. Extra round to do. So we're going to join here to our first double crochet, chain 1 and turn, and then we're going to do one more round of our chain 2 spaces. So we'll just start into this is our first double crochet. We're going to work in our second. Of course, we do our single crochet, chain 2, back into that same space, chain 2 again, skip 2, 1, 2, and do that same pattern of the single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. We'll finish up this round 20 and make sure you have 22 chain 2 spaces. So I'll meet up with you at the end of round 20. Okay, so we are just finishing up round 20 and we'll join to our first single crochet that we made, chain 1 and turn. Okay, so this is going to be the last round of the texture round, and all we're going to be doing for our last round, round 21, is working 3 double crochet into each chain 2 space around. Okay, so I'll go off camera and finish this round up, and then we can start moving on to the brim. Okay, so I'll see you soon. I just finished working my round of 3 double crochets, and we're just going to join with a slip stitch again to that first stitch, and we're going to chain 1 and turn. Now it's really important that you make sure that you have 66 stitches around at this point, because we're going to be moving on to the brim. But before we do that, all we're going to be doing for round 22 is just working a single crochet into every stitch around. So make sure at the end of round 22 you have 66 stitches, and then grab your 6mm hook and we'll move on to the brim. Now if you don't have a 6mm hook, that's absolutely fine. You can still make the brim. It's just going to be a little bit floppier, which probably is no issue. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and work this and meet up with you at the end, and we'll move on to the brim. Okay, so I'm just finishing round 22, and I'm going to change to my 6mm hook. And like I said, if you don't have one, go ahead and use the 6.5mm. Now we're going to be moving on to the brim, and we're going to be doing a few increases so that you get this shape here where it makes the brim flare out, and then we'll come back and we'll do the final edging here. Okay, so moving on to round 23 now, we're starting our brim and we're using our 6mm hook. So for round 23, we work in the front loop only. If you've never done that before, each stitch has a front loop and a back loop. So all we're going to be doing is inserting our hook just so that we pick up that one loop. We're going to be working increases this round. So we're going to work a single crochet in the first 2 stitches, just working in that front loop only. And that's 2 done. And then we're going to work an increase or 2 single crochet in the next, and keep working under the front loop only for those stitches as well. Okay, and then we'll work a single crochet front loop only in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochet front loop only in the next. So just repeat that pattern all the way around for round 23, and at the end of round 23 you should have 88 stitches. Go ahead for round 24 and work a single crochet into each stitch around, and then of course at the end of round 24 you should still have 88 stitches. So go ahead and work a single crochet through both loops. I should clarify that. So just make sure that you've got 2 loops on your hook there, and work your single crochet. And you can see here after that round of working in the front loop how it lifts the brim away from the edge of the hat, so away from your face. Okay, so I'll meet up with you at the end of round 24 and we'll move on to round 25. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 24 and I've double checked and I have 88 stitches. So this is going to be the last increase round for the brim. So you can see here how it's coming along, it's sticking out, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so for round 25, you're not joining and you're not turning for any of the rounds of the brim. So we will just go ahead and we're going to work single crochet in the first 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then we're going to do an increase, so 2 single crochet in the next stitch. 1 and 2, and then 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then you're going to work 2 single crochet in the next stitch. So that's 1, and go right back into that same stitch and add your second single crochet. So that's the pattern repeat for round 25, single crochet in the 4 stitches followed by 2 single crochet in the next, and then you're going to end this round with a single crochet in the last 3 stitches, and you should have 105 stitches at the end of round 25. So I'll go off camera and work this up and we'll meet up at the end of round 25. Okay, so I just finished round 25. I have checked that I have 105 stitches. Now all we're going to be doing for rounds 26 through 29, so 26, 27, for the next 4 rounds, is working a single crochet through both loops all the way around. Don't join, don't turn, just keep working continuously. Rounds 26 through 29, a single crochet in each stitch around. Once we finish that, we'll come back and I'll show you how to do this really cute edging, and we'll finish off the hat. Okay, I hope you're doing great so far. See you soon. Okay, so we're at the end now, and all we're going to be doing is joining with a slip stitch, and we're going to be working now from left to right instead of right to left. So we're going to be doing a long reverse single crochet. So when it's long, let me just grab this little loop here. I had to rip out some work and now I've got a little mess. Okay. So when we're working a long stitch, we're going to be working into the row below or the round below. So if you were working a regular reverse single crochet, we would just be working into these stitches here. But because it's long, we're going to go into the round below. Okay, so just put your hook in, find the stitch that you're going to work into, and then just insert your hook. And now you're going to yarn under and pull this loop up to the height of your last round. Then you're going to yarn over and finish like a regular single crochet. Okay, so let's find our next stitch. Now you're just going to be working, this is where your first one was, into the same round. You're going to find your next stitch. You're going to insert your hook front to back, yarn under, pull that loop up even with your last round, and finish off like a regular single crochet. Okay, let's do another one. Find your next stitch, insert your hook, yarn under, pull up that loop, yarn over, and finish your single crochet. Okay, just continue to work in the same round. Just like this. Okay, and there you've got that really cute edging for your bucket hat. So you're going to do that all the way around, and when you're ready to fasten off, and I'll just do it here because I'm sure many are leaving at this point, you're just going to turn your work, join with a slip stitch, and then fasten off. Just pull the yarn through like a slip stitch, yarn over, and fasten off. Okay, so that's everything today. I hope that you loved making this bucket hat. Be sure to leave in the comments below what you made and tag me on social media if you are there. Instagram at Pretty Darn Adorable. And if you haven't already and enjoyed this video, I would love it if you subscribed. And until next time, bye-bye.